At the beginning, I want to give you some definitions about some concepts. What's a range query? It's a way to efficiently answer any number of queries on any subset of the input. Of course, I took this definition from Wikipedia, as you see here in the link below. So we want to efficiently answer any number of queries on any subset of the input. What's a query? A query, it's a function that we want to apply on this subset of the input. This function, it could be the minimum, the maximum, the sum, or any other function you want. Here, this is the mathematical representation of a range query. We want to apply a function f on the input A from position I to position J, which means we're going to apply the same function on the elements on the input from AI, where AI is the element in the I position, to AJ, where AJ is the element in the input in the J position. Let's take quick examples here. Let's have this query. This is the mathematical representation of a range query. For example, if f is the sum function or the summation, so we want to compute the sum on the input A from position I to position J, which is the sum on the elements from A to AJ, which is AI plus 2AJ. The sum of the elements in this input from position I to J. Same for the max here. If the function f is the maximum, so we want to compute the maximum from position I to J in the input A. No, same here. We want to compute the maximum on the elements from AI. We want to compute the maximum from AI, where AI is the element in the position I, and AJ is the element in the position J. We want to compute the maximum in this range. For example, here, if we want to compute, for example, the maximum from this period to this period, this one, as you see, the maximum is here, this one, for example, or this one, from here to here, this range, the maximum, I think, this one. So this is a range, the definition, a range query. What's an update? Update, of course, as you know, we're going to change the date. We have two kind of updates. We have a point update, which means we are going to update at a specific point. If you come back here on this one, in this example, this picture, in this image here, for example, we want to update this value, only this one. Of course, the range query will be different here. For example, if we updated this value, we update it like this. course, now the range from here to here will change. Now the maximum will from this in this range will change this one. Or we have a range update. We're going to update all the values on that range by another value, or we're going to add or subtract or anything of update. We're going to update a range, not just a specific point or a specific value or a specific position. If we come back here, for example, we want to update all this value on this range. So of course, this will be influence on the range update later. What's static range queries? Static range queries are queries without updates in between. We have an input. We want to perform range queries, but there is no update on the in between on the input. A dynamic range queries, there are queries with updates in between. For example, here, if we have some data here, first we make a range query on this range. We find the value, and like on the second time, for example, we want to update this value from here to here. We update here, so this value will be changed here. This value it will be the answer in the next time or not, which means the values we're going to change here between queries. So that's what we call it a dynamic range query. The input is not same as the original input. The motivation of this course, we want to perform a number of static or dynamic queries on a huge amount of data. We want, of course, write efficient code. We want to write an efficient code as possible for that range queries problem. We have many approaches here. We can use the prefix sum, the square root decomposition, lowest common ancestor or LCA, sparse array, segment tree, binary indexed tree or Henry tree. Of course, here it depends on the problem here, on what type of query do you have. We're going to see later in the course that for each type of query, we're going to choose a technique or a data structure that allow me to write the most efficient code to resolve that problem. I'm going to use these two online judges, Code Submission Evaluation System, or CSES, this one. Of course, we're going to use now our lead code. Okay, this is you see it here. This is the range queries problem. We're going to use these problems to see the different sections of this course, and we're going to practice on lead code or this one. We're going to use to this too. The next section, we're going to start with the static sum range query. Range sum query.